ELI5. How come printers still have same issues as they had 20 years ago? You're mostly mentioning the hardware side of printing. The paper handling, for instance. I remember that in the old days I would get a lot more jams and 2 pages getting picked up at the same time, than nowadays. What really bothers me, is the software side of printing. How come we need a million different drivers? How come the driver is larger than a fresh install of Windows 95? How come canceling a print operation only works 50 of the time? How come, printing something black, but cyan is low, so no print for you today? Etc. etc. Printers' inkjet home ones are literally designed to be disposable. Manufacturers make almost no money on the hardware and hope to instead make money on ink. So if they are not making any money on the printer, where's the incentive to improve the printer hardware or software? It really comes down to you get what you pay for. At work we had laser printers that lasted literally decades. But they also costed several $1,000s. If you don't absolutely need color, just get a basic laser printer. Brother is a very good brand. Not sure I agree. If I wanted to I could print a copy of this conversation wirelessly from my phone. I connect to my printer $50 Canon with at least 5 different devices, and I don't recall having any issues except the one someone else mentioned, magenta ink out, can't print black, WTF? And best of all I can put it anywhere I want, it doesn't need to be next to my computer, or hardwired to a network. So yeah, printers are a lot easier to use, and the ability to connect wirelessly is a massive upgrade over 20 years ago. I bought a well-rated laser printers 3 or 4 years ago. I don't print hundreds of pages a month but it's worked flawlessly every time I've needed to use it. If you use old printers they won't get better. If you buy cheap printers you're more likely to have hardware issues, potentially software too. Most people that I ever hear complaining about printers still have inkjet printers and let them dry. If you do that it's not the printer's fault. You're just misusing it. Basically the technology has reached a limit where there isn't really anything to innovate. Inkjet printers still squirt ink out the same way they've done for decades, paper is still pulled though the printer the same. It's like a microwave, the base technology is already as good as it can be really, manufacturing quality versus price aside, so you just don't see big changes. At least without creating some completely new thing, e.g. going from inkjet to laser printing. You are moving a piece of unique paper manufactured from individual living things plants through a series mechanical touch points that must be able to tolerate all types, sizes, material composition and thicknesses in a number of environmental settings where the tolerance level is less than the width of a single piece of human hair. What could go wrong? Printers have always been a pain in the ass. Sometimes they just don't work for no apparent reason. They can't find the PC or PC can't find the printer. Usually when this happens I just power off and then power on the 2 devices. Most times this does a trick. However sometimes the printer has to be removed from the OS and added again. I'll say that home inkjets were better 20 years ago. They were just dumb machines that did what they were told. No black ink? Fine, I'll print my text in magenta. Last printer I bought lasted until the first cartridge change. Never got a readable print after that. And since I print very seldom, it was out of warranty. One of the best things I ever did was connect the printer directly via the Ethernet port. When I click print it just works every time. It's still annoying that there's a firmware update almost every month and the warning pops up all the time. By the time I get to it, there's another firmware update ready to pester me. Hands start shaking remembering how to capture an LPT port for a parallel printer. Manufacturers have no incentive to make better printers cause they used to last a lot. They better find ways to make the hardware cheaper and more fragile, sell at a loss in life of the toner and cartridges. A lot of it is designed obsolescence, but also if you do not use your printer very often then the ink is allowed to sit and dry out and gets on everything and causes all kinds of problems. We went through 3 printers before I realized I needed to get a 2-year degree in printer cleaning. Software-wise things haven't really changed in the past couple of decades to the point that a printer driver designed for Windows Vista will likely still work perfectly fine on Windows 11, and printer manufacturers haven't shown much interest on improving this. We got an Epson Eco Tank recently and it's the first decent printer I've ever owned. Connects easily, ink is very cheap, lasts ages and is so easy to refill. Now someone just needs to make a toaster that toasts consistently. Consumer ink printers are literally waste. They're bad by design. I've had problems with every single one. Then, I bought a laser printer. Plugged it in, just works. It's reliable, cheap to operate and foolproof. Luckily I have access to a dozen printers at work, so I don't have to have a cheapo machine at home. Unluckily, I'm also due all the support on those work printers. Whereas the paperless office they promised. Cheap consumer printers are crap because if they made them better they'd be too expensive for people to want to buy them. Good printers exist, they're just out of the price range of most consumers. I bought a printer that uses subscription ink. I don't even know what that means, but I was so disgusted that I've never even used the damn thing. Bizarre concept. It depends on what printer you have made, the cheap ones are designed to be pieces of junk. There is more quality on the middle end ones around $120,250 USD.